Hi, I'm Eric, also known as Trekkie V47, from the Ranger Command Power Hour and the Starfleet Escape podcast. You're listening to another great Four-Eyed Radio product. For more shows, check out foureyedradio.com. It's morphin' time!
Hey there, Eric here from Socially Awkward Studios, and this Four-Eyed Radio presentation is being proudly brought to you by Raven Designs, illustration and design that fit your personality. For samples and inquiries, visit ravencruise.com.
Hey everybody, this is Jeff, and I am hooked.
Hey, and this is Steve, and I've got some feelings for you.
Welcome to the 12A Podcast, where you're going to learn about movies, entertainment, and a lot of other cool stuff. And now, here are three guys who are
Hooked on a feeling, I'm high on believing that you're in love with me.
Jeff, Steve,
And
Chuck.
Sam! Yeah, and the dog
Yes,
Chuck's running
and the
around
dog
somewhere.
Chuck.
Somewhere here.
Woo!
Oh,
Alright,
man.
that was beautiful. Like, that's
Yeah.
like when you're like singing in the shower. Like, it sounds so good. And
Yeah.
so, like, just now hearing
Yeah.
that, I think that sounded amazing. I hope it does for all of you folks.
Steve, I have headphones on. No.
Yeah,
No?
it sounded
I knew.
like perfect harmony, but I know we'll listen back to it, and you're right.
It was
Yeah.
terrible.
I'll
It
just
is
But it
swerve off
was
the road.
so much fun.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It was so
And
much fun.
Man, because I can hit those notes just like Coldplay and Matchbox 20 when I'm in my shower.
Oh,
yeah.
Foo Fighters, boom,
Yeah.
Dave Grohl ain't got nothing on this guy in the shower.
So there's this movie Woody Allen made recently called When in Rome or something like that. And it's just a bunch of these short stories that happen around the same time in Rome.
Oh, okay.
Right? So it's on top of so one of them is with a Woody Allen character, and he is sort of an opera talent agent. Mm-hmm. And he meets it's his like son's daughter's or his son's fiance's father, something like that, right?
Okay.
So he's singing in the shower, and he sings this unbelievably great opera. And so he's like, but he's like a mortician by trade, right?
Okay.
So he's like, you gotta try out for the opera, and he doesn't want to, finally convinces them to go try out for the opera, and it's terrible. And then the next day, whatever, he's singing in the shower, and Woody Allen overhears him again, and he's like, "You got to give this another
perfect.
shot, right?
What's up?" Yeah.
And so he's like, "No, I'm not going to do it again." So finally, Woody Allen's like, "All right, I got it figured out." So you cut to this like full Broadway. Like it's packed house. You hear like the Broadway piano and everything getting started. You hear him come in. The melody's perfect. He's doing great. And then you kind of pull back and you find out that he's in a shower on set.
He only sings perfectly in the
Yeah.
shower.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. And so he ends up going through this whole opera where he's in the shower, and they just find ways to make the story work around him. It wasn't a great movie, but that segment was hilarious.
That's pretty funny.
That is great, though. Yeah.
That is pretty funny.
So sorry, that was a long
Awesome.
segue into.
Hey, singing in the shower, there's never a problem with that. We can always
No.
talk
Okay,
about that.
good,
so.
good.
Yes.
So unfortunately, Carly is not with us
I know.
tonight. She's not feeling well.
She's no longer with us.
She's no
like
longer
the way you
with
started
us.
that off. Like, unfortunately, Carly's no
We
longer
have
with
no
us.
longer with us.
news.
She is still alive.
Thankfully,
She's
yes.
at home.
Should we tell him what your exact text message to
Get
her
well.
was?
Get well.
Are you? He texts her,
Yeah.
and it's hey, are you coming? Because it's like, she should have been here like 15 minutes ago or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
She's
And
always
then
early.
Her exact words back were "fuck."
That was
Okay.
it. And then the conversation went downhill from there.
So yeah, that was the peak.
That was the highlight.
That was the high.
Yeah.
So,
highlight.
Carly, get well.
Yeah,
If you
please
listen.
get better.
There you go. And should we say anything now? Should we
I think
do
we
tease
have
this?
to.
We have to.
Oh,
We
yeah,
have to say
it's
it?
one of the bite
It's
the
been,
bullets.
like, I know, and it's like an emotional thing.
It is.
It really kind of is. And Jeff and I
Yeah.
may have almost teared up some when we were having a beer last week together. Well, he was having a White Russian and I was having a beer, but that's our usual drinks at
Yeah.
Applebee's.
This is why we had the Hooked on a Feeling song.
This
For
really
this moment.
Yeah, right.
I don't believe it.
All right, so I'm going to turn my mic off because I might sob a little too here.
Okay. All right. So we've decided that this is going to be our final episode.
Man, it hurts.
Wow.
It hurts to have
This-
that outside.
Now,
yeah.
But check this out though. I was thinking about it. This is episode 50.
Yeah.
We have officially been doing this for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Jeez.
2 years.
That's amazing,
Well,
guys.
and if you think about it, like we've talked to Eric over at the Socially Awkward. He's the one that runs all the radio network stuff and
Right.
everything. And we've actually been doing this podcast longer than the network's been alive in its current form.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we started doing this before, Eric was running everything and before Socially Awkward and all that stuff.
Right.
And I did not realize it had been 2 solid years that we've been doing this in some incarnation or another. That's great. A lot
That's
of
a long
time
time.
commitment.
I think
know?
you should give
Like,
yourself
No,
that.
thank you.
Like, way to go
Yeah.
for us because we know each other and we're not that committed to.
That's what I'm saying. That's a long run.
No, it kind of is.
Yeah.
And so Jeff and I were sitting around though, and we've talked about this for weeks now. And what's funny is when I brought it up to Jeff, he was already thinking about stepping away for a little bit because we have so many other projects going on,
Yeah,
and that's really kind of what the bottom line is.
Right.
And I had brought up to him too the same thing because in my mind I'm thinking, I got a kid coming in a couple of weeks.
Right.
Jeff and Carly can do the podcast without me for a while because I don't know what my October is going to look like with a new kid.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe pretty hit and miss. And then Jeff's thinking the same thing. He's like, I want to step away, and Steve and Carly can do it, for a little while and stuff like that. And we're like, maybe episode number 50, it is just it's time to call it quits right now on it.
Right.
We've developed awesome relationships, and Jeff, interrupt me anytime if I'm talking too much on this.
No, you're doing good.
Okay.
Carry on.
So, we've developed great relationships with this radio network. We've worked with a lot of local filmmakers, a lot more now because we've been doing more stuff. We've been doing stuff through IFP more often. This has got us committed to more things. But the transition for us is we want to start getting back into the video stuff we've been doing. We're going to still do audio dramas. In fact, we're finalizing a script for one. We're going to record and release one this year.
Yeah, an original written by us.
Original,
Yeah, totally
Yeah.
original.
Totally
not
excited
a,
about
yeah.
it too. It's
Yeah.
coming along really nice.
Yeah, I read the screenplay for the first time last week or a couple weeks ago.
He only
and
had like 95 notes for it. That's
Yeah,
all.
that's-
So
that's
good
good.
for me.
That's
It's
great.
good for us.
It was good, yeah. So it's exciting. I'm excited to see how this stuff comes together. I'm very
Yep.
excited about the audio drama.
Yeah.
So we've got that. We have this romantic comedy that we filmed months ago. We've shown it at a couple of things. We got to get that edit down on that. We want to start doing the film festival thing.
Yeah.
We've got some great ideas for shorts on YouTube.
Right.
And we've
have
been
a feature
working.
film that's
we've got a
in,
feature film
development,
that's in the works. We got that screenplay, and we've been working, like I said, with other local filmmakers. We just shot something with Daniel.
Right.
That we'll see where that goes as far as filming that thing beginning of next year, this web series. And so it's just time to move our efforts towards that.
Right. And that's where we're hoping that you guys will continue to stick with us. Number one, I hope you guys stick with the network. Fern has been really, really good to us. It's just been
Yeah.
Definitely.
amazing. Eric and everybody over there at Fern
Totally.
who runs the Socially Awkward podcast on through. There's so many really great shows on the network. So number one,
they keep adding more. It's like I
Yeah.
go on to my podcasting thing and it's like, oh, there's another show. There's another show.
Yeah.
So they're growing. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we hope you check out Fern, and if you haven't checked out some of their other amazing shows, the Star Trek show, the Power Rangers show, the Socially Awkward podcast, which kind of covers a gamut of things, Fro show covers music and Arcade Brothers and video games.
Appropriately Inappropriate is a really good funny
Yeah.
one. The guy who's in it, I totally blank on his name, so I'm sorry, but he does stand-up comedy locally, and he always
Yeah.
has other stand-up comics with him and stuff.
A lot of good
and
guests,
A lot of
yeah.
good guests and everything, and that's it's another good show.
Yeah, in fact, Steve and I are going to be on the show.
The Social Awkward podcast we're going to be on Friday the 26th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're going to be on that one.
So that'll be fun. Plug in some of this new stuff that we're going to be developing. And then secondly, we hope that you guys would stick with us. If you follow us on YouTube, it's just youtube.com/12A Productions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to 12aproductions.com, we're trying to do more to develop the blog there. Last month we just blogged about 80s TV shows. We all kind of binged watched some of our favorite 80s TV shows.
I'm still watching them, Jeff. I can't stop now.
Yeah.
I'm watching Magnum PI now, and I ain't even a blog about that.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
So, anyways, yes.
Magnum.
Yeah. It's gotten me hooked
Yeah,
on 80s.
and
Mustache-
I'm excited
the mustache and the
because
shorts.
we're kind of coming into the holiday seasons with Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I had a lot of fun putting the Netflix guides for those together.
Yep.
So that was a lot
That'll
of
be
fun.
coming back
so,
up again for us.
So we'll have the holiday guides coming up on the blog. And then, I'm super excited about creating regular content for the YouTube channel. Steve and I have a lot of really great ideas about, number one, working with a lot of other collaborative people here in the Valley and kind of growing 12A and making a bigger collaborative effort to sort of work with other people who are really smart and creative in the Valley.
Yeah, we're creating a studio is what we're doing.
Right.
But I don't know if we've had Jeff's wife sign off on this yet, but we're creating the studio in his guest bedroom, which isn't used or anything like that. So I think we've got the okay on that. But we start doing this collaborative stuff, Jeff. Like, your front door is going to be open a lot, and a lot of people are going to be in and out of here. And I think I'm going to have to write up a contract for her to sign.
No,
we have to start paying her when we
no kidding.
Stuff. Yeah,
I've talked to Shireen has signed off on this. She's okay.
Cool.
Number one.
Awesome.
Number two, so I grew up in a 4-person, mom and dad, 2 kids family, and I always was envious of my cousins and those who had big families where they sort of had a big family, the doors always open and people are always kind of coming in and out. Yeah. And so it's kind of this social atmosphere. And I remember your house was a bit it was always a Thursday nights and you never knew who all was going to be there. And so I always enjoyed the home being sort of a social environment. So it's going to be fun.
I'm totally looking forward to it. I totally agree. And, this is nothing to do at all with the radio network because we're still going to do stuff. We're releasing our audio dramas through them. We're going to help. Jeff and I have offered up, if Socially Awkward ever needs a guest host or anything like that. And, who knows what we might do with them going forward. But, they're, like he said, they're a great radio network. We're going to continue working with them, so support them. But at the same time, keep your eye out on us. We're hoping to have a lot of good entertaining content going forward.
Yeah, so. And we've already got... We've already got a bunch of sketch ideas and sort of short form material ideas that we're ready to start working on, and for this YouTube channel. And we're going to continue some of the stuff that we've been doing on the podcast onto the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I want to continue the Second Base for $1 in a 60-second YouTube format. Now, haven't gotten all the details out yet, but I totally doable, and we want to start having fun with that. And it's going to continue on in some form or another. So a lot of the stuff that you enjoy with the audio podcast, we're hoping to be able to transition into a video, broadcast type of thing. So.
So hopefully some of those things, and again the radio dramas that we're going to keep doing, and so I'm really excited about those possibilities.
Yeah. So there we go. That news is out of the way, folks. So we hope you enjoy our final episode, episode number 50, and it's probably going to go longer than an hour because I think Jeff has a film history.
Yeah, and this is a good transition. Speaking of this being our swan song of a podcast, did you see the news on Hemlock Grove today?
I did. Season 3, and it's going to be their final, they're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, so what do you think about that?
I'm very okay with that. I know it's based on books, and so I haven't read any of their books or anything like that yet, but I would prefer that they wrapped it up like that. I don't want them to drag it on or anything. I loved season 2. The last couple of minutes kind of ruined it almost for me because the creature and what it turned into, and if you watch it, you'll know what I mean. But I'm okay with it because then they can wrap it up. Hopefully there's not going to be, because there's still questions. Hopefully they'll wrap it all up nicely and it'll be a package deal and it'll be over with. It's better than dragging it out for 7 seasons and you start losing faith in it or something.
Yeah, I know that's a lot of people have problems with shows like that. I know The Office is often criticized for, just went on for too long. I still enjoyed it, but, I know a lot of people have those thoughts about shows. So it's kind of nice that you can sort of have a beginning and an end, and I'm glad it's a situation where Netflix is at least up front and saying okay, let's wrap it up. Because how many TV shows ended on some crazy note because they didn't think that they were going to be canceled, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. Because wasn't the end of Seinfeld? I mean, I don't know how they canceled, but they ended it with him in jail or whatever.
No, that was actually intentional, and everyone was kind of okay, all right, that's kind of.
So I guess you can end it badly either way, huh?
Yeah. So,
but anyway, so I'm okay with it because it'll end hopefully and wrapped up really nicely. I'll be pissed if it's not a nice wrapped up bow package, and they don't explain things, but whatever. I'll still watch it. I'm still looking forward to it. Netflix has not steered me wrong with their original content, and now Hulu hasn't either. I've been watching more of Quick Draw. Have you watched any of it yet?
Yeah, so I finally logged on to Hulu and watched it, and honestly, I thought it was all right. Mm-hmm. I wasn't jumping out of my seat. Honestly, to be honest with you, since you gave me the background and everything of it, I spent half of the episode thinking about how much fun it would be for you and me to do a show like that and improvise things and work it out. Because some of the dialogue scenes, they were just so dialogue heavy, and it would just sort of stretch out for too long. But when they would like involve some of the action, you could sort of tell they were coming from, hey, let's give the actors plenty of space to sort of do their thing. And so they weren't able to get lots of coverage and make it kind of exciting.
Right. I think I got more hooked into it once I realized that it was all improvised. I think that's when I got more hooked into it, because it was funny the first episode, but until I was reading up on it, that's when I realized that, oh, wow, this is all improvised. Because some of my favorite scenes when I think I'm 5 or 6 episodes into it now, but are when the sheriff is talking to the lady that runs the whorehouse behind the bar. Like some of their dialogue and stuff, I don't know what their improvisation background is, but some of their dialogue is the stuff that really gets me going funny and everything like that between the two of them. There's others that, yeah, you're right, a little too dialogue heavy, or little things that are like, there's a mortician guy, and he's kind of always just like the same. The jokes with him aren't, really that funny or anything like that. But yeah, now I think about it, like, how do they film this? Because there is no dialogue. So, is it just, this is how the scene needs to end, and they do 10 or 15 takes till they get it down, rehearsing and stuff like that. But I enjoy it now more because I realize that the whole thing's improvised. So.
Right.
That is pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen any of it, Sammy?
No.
Yeah, it's called Quick Draw. It's on Hulu.
I don't have Hulu, but
it's worthwhile just to check out a couple of episodes, I think, knowing that it's, completely improvised.
Yeah, so I don't have Hulu either. I borrowed Steve so I could watch the show for the sake of it.
Oh, okay. Well, I see.
I didn't want
research purposes.
Research purposes. I didn't want to ever admit that I would do something like that, because I don't want the FCC listening to our show. But
hey, that's the last episode. Yeah, so screw you.
So screw you, FCC. I borrowed Steve's Hulu thing so I could watch a show, and since I had it logged in for the night, I thought, oh, what the hell? I ended up watching 2 or 3 episodes of Taxi.
Like the TV show?
Yeah, the old TV
that's
show.
an
Oh
awesome
my gosh,
TV. Yeah,
it's
great.
such a good show.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
No, that's where a lot of my 80s TV show watching came from, was Hulu, because that's Magnum PI and stuff like that. I was watching it on Hulu.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because it was sort of frustrating. You log in and you're like, okay, Hulu has the newest TV shows, but then you're like, oh, they only have like the last 4 or 5. Whatever
most recent episodes.
It's like I can't go back and watch the whole season, whatever. That's sort of frustrating. But then you're like, I don't want to watch a movie and be interrupted with commercials and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But then you see, it's like, oh my God, they have the Snorks. Are you kidding me? I haven't seen the Snorks in like 20 years. I gotta watch this stuff, man. This is great.
Yeah. All that old stuff, that's where it's like
that's
hiding
funny.
at. But you are right, as far as current episodes, because we watch Revenge. But if you don't keep up with it, like, they only have the most recent of the current season, only the most recent, like 4 or 5 episodes for some reason. So I don't know how that all works out, But once it's over, then they'll have like the full season 4 or 5 type of thing. But the current season, you got to wait till it's like all over. And so.
Okay, yeah. So for me, it's like if you have a DVR, there's no real need for a Hulu unless you are into some of these older shows. Like, I can't watch Snorks anywhere else.
Right.
I got to get
Right.
so
get your hook.
Yeah, so I would imagine that they got to continue that content, developing that content, which I'm sure they do, because I remember I watched Alf for free on it years ago. But can't you watch some of those for free on like your computer?
I'm sure you can,
but you just can't on your TV or something.
Yeah. No, there's definitely ways to do that.
Well, do they still have like Hulu Plus
Well, that's
Or
what
is
the
that-
paid subscription part is. So
Okay,
I don't
okay.
even know, as far as if you go to Hulu.com, I don't know what's free to stream right now because I have the Hulu Plus. It's
Oh,
the
okay.
$7.99 a month,
I got
and that
you.
way I can stream it on my phone, on my Roku, on
Okay.
my Chromecast, stuff like that. But that's the one that has like access to all the every episode of The Simpsons and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Yeah, so Hulu, you can get onto it and you can watch all their old stuff for free on your computer. But if you have Plus, then you have access to all the new stuff. Plus, you can like watch it on your PS3 or your phone
through their apps
or-
and stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So yeah,
Otherwise,
Okay.
you're stuck to a web browser version
Gotcha,
of it. Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
Right.
So, but between the two of them, now I don't know if I've broken the news to you guys. I have cable TV again.
What?
Why? Why?
What?
it's because of football, right?
season.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Football season started up, so
Yeah.
that was my anniversary gift to my wife. No, I'm dead serious. Like she
That's
loved
hilarious.
it. We've got the Cox DVR that she can record 6 shows at once, and you can
Nice.
stop it in one room and start it
Play
again
it
in
in
our
another-
bedroom. You know where the TV's at. And,
Right.
But yeah, now she's got all her college football and her NFL going, and so yeah.
Now, did you sign like a 2-year contract?
No.
Or you just, so you're done at football in the Super Bowl?
She actually said to me, she's like, "Are we going to cancel it again after football?" I was like, "More than likely. I mean, unless you tell me you need it for anything." Because I didn't miss it at all, and neither did she really.
Yeah.
It was not until football came back and all the college and NFL, and this is just the easiest way to watch it instead of trying
Right.
to stream something or
Right.
XBMC or anything like
Yeah,
that. So,
which, by
yeah.
the way, one of our listeners, Chris, he just posted online. He pictured this picture of the
Roku 3,
the Roku
right?
3 and the Apple TV, and he's like talking about how he's getting these things together. And since he spends like $25 on Hulu, Amazon Prime, and Netflix, that he's going to be cutting the cable. So for me, like I saw that post today, and I thought, we've been doing this show for 2 years about streaming media. And finally, Chris is cutting the cable, and I kind of feel like, okay, we can end the show now.
We've done good.
It's an appropriate time to end it.
We made a change, and it's probably not because he listened to every episode and it changed his life, but that's the lie that I'm going to tell myself so I can sleep at night. So thank you, Chris. We appreciate
Yes,
it.
thanks, Chris.
Thank you very much. So, what else? I did not stream a whole lot. I did stream Quick Draw, as we talked about. Transformers Prime.
Yes,
my
awesome.
son is totally into Transformers, so the newer Transformers Prime. It's
great.
and it's way cool. Like
great.
you watch just the first episode, it's edited and cut just like an action movie. There's the slow motion, the cut scenes for the action, the drama. I was hooked into this show.
It's really well
and I'm
done.
so glad that my 3-year-old is too, because I can get away with watching it now. So
Now, that's like within the last 5 years.
yeah, I want to say like 3 or 4 years. Like it's really recent.
And
yeah.
it's 3D, right? Like 3D animation?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's modern.
Oh yeah, it's modern, the animation
decent?
and everything, and it's decent, and it's
very good.
fun stories, and it's just like with the Rescue Bots, the kid version of Transformers, where there are 3 children and 3 different Transformers that they there's a motorcycle and this teenage kid, so it tries to hook you in with the kids and the teenagers and stuff,
Right.
which is great, but. No, the storylines are definitely there, and it's just the way the action,
The action
and stuff
and
is
yeah,
so
the voice
well
acting
done.
and everything.
Yeah, the
is-
voice acting is good on it. So, and it's a lot of fun and kind of spunky. So, yeah, Transformers Prime is the way to go. And I've totally gotten hooked on this. I never got
Yeah.
into any of the Star Wars cartoons.
Okay.
I never got into the Matrix.
Clone Wars is good. You have to. Did you
that's-
try and watch that?
No, I haven't tried to watch any
Oh,
of them.
it's very good.
But now that I've seen this Transformers Prime and how entertaining this is, I want to go back and watch Clone Wars. I want to watch that Matrix one that they did.
Yeah.
Because I never saw the Animatrix and stuff like that. So now I'm like,
Clone
man,
Wars is good. The movie, I think the movie, because there's a movie that precedes the actual series.
Okay.
And the movie was pretty decent. And the first season of the series, you just got to give it a little bit of time.
Right.
But by the time they get to the 6th season, I mean, it's just awesome.
Really? See,
Yeah,
that's...
yeah. There's some great
And that's
characters.
what,
in it.
if you remember Nate, who does
Oh,
voice
yeah, that's
structures
right.
on the show, he
He liked
gave
that,
almost the
too.
exact same review. So,
Yeah, so
it's
now
really good.
I got to revisit some of these things that I thought, animated stuff, pusha.
You know, so can I interject one thing here?
Sure.
So I watched this stream. It's a Lego show on Netflix. They just came. They have a bunch of little Lego short pieces on there, like 20 minutes, 22 minutes.
Like Lego, like Star Wars, like the video
Yeah,
games.
yeah,
Lego
and then
Indiana
Lego
Jones
Ninjas
and
and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
So they have one for Marvel, and it's like Lego Marvel
Like the
Overload
Avengers?
or something like that. Yeah, and so they have like the entire Marvel cast, and they have Loki who's trying to do some bad things,
Some crazy god thing.
and then you have Thor and you have Captain America and the Hulk and all these done with like these Lego characters. It was hilarious.
Really?
I could not stop laughing because it's like it's one of those dual things. So, it's made for kids, but then there's more of an adult
that goes over the kid's head.
It goes over the kids' heads, and it's more subtle. But it was so well done, and it just moved so quick, and so I recommend that.
Okay,
I streamed that.
Okay,
I streamed that this week. So
Legos, and I like it because. I've got this 3-year-old son, and so if I could sit down and watch it with him, and I can laugh and be entertained, and he can be entertained by the action going on the screen.
I think you'll like it.
Okay, I'll check it out.
So this is a series, or this was
just a single, right?
It's a single, but there's a lot of if you look on Netflix and just do a search for Lego, there's a lot of little shorts that they have up there that are like 20 to 25 minutes.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Tons of them.
Is that the only one you've watched so far?
I watched one earlier. It was a while ago, and I don't remember what it was.
Oh, okay.
But the Marvel
But
one's
that
the
one piqued my interest because I'm like, oh, Marvel characters, really? How are they going to do that? And then I watched it, and it was like from the get-go, I was like, wow, this is cool. So
yeah, well, it's kind of weird because in my mind, like I'm thinking of like the Lego Star Wars games and those.
Yeah,
it's there's like no talking in them. So
it's
in my
totally
mind,
different.
I'm like, how is this gonna? Yeah.
The animation is totally different. I mean, it's funny because like it's like a morph between most everything is Lego, but sometimes when they like this one, they go flying through some buildings, right?
Okay.
And the building face looks like a typical 3D animated movie. But then when they stop and look and show you different angles, you can see like the little Lego blocks, right?
Oh,
so it's
okay.
like, okay, they tricked
Lego.
me there, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when things crumble, like it's like the Lego blocks crumble and everything like that. And it's just so
Something blows
funny.
up, it's Lego blocks flying
exactly.
everywhere.
So it looks like a regular thing, and then all of a sudden you see Lego blocks, and you're like, wow, that's cool.
Well, they must have some good writers involved. I know the movie was one of the biggest of the year so far. I
haven't seen the movie. I've heard nothing but good about it. But I saw this, and I'm like, wow, if the movie's anything like this, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be totally entertaining.
Yeah.
No Frozen here.
Yeah.
No Frozen.
No damn singing in this one.
They're talking about another one of those. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Last thing that I streamed on Google Play, paid for this, but I was like, I got to watch NC. Million Ways to Die in the West.
Oh, okay.
With, what's his name that did Ted and Family Guy and stuff.
MacFarlane.
Yeah, McFarlane. So, I was hooked in the first, 2-3 minutes because they did their best to shoot this like a real Western. Like, the color of it was gorgeous. The Western desert scenes, I think it's filmed in New Mexico, but, it could have been Arizona, it looks beautiful. And the musical score was just awesome. They did their best to try as a Western. Every time Seth MacFarlane is on there, though, if he's not saying something about his penis or some other dirty joke type of thing, that's what it was. So, it was like they took Seth MacFarlane and threw him into a Western. Because everything else about it was, and everybody pretty much that was in Ted, all the side characters, small characters were back in it. I don't know if I told you, Ryan Reynolds made a little appearance in Ted during a party scene, but literally 2 seconds. And again, he's in this one, literally 2 seconds, and he gets shot and killed in a bar. Ryan Reynolds, big old actor. So I don't know how he and Seth are friends or something, and just totally. But Neil Patrick Harris.
Yep.
Plays the bad guy in this with his mustache, and there's a great mustache song that they all sing to in a barn. Funny stuff.
That's hilarious.
But the cameos in it are what got me. Back to the Future cameo in it.
Wow.
Oh, I heard.
Doc is in it, and it's him. It's him.
Wow.
Doc is in it, and he's got the DeLorean there, and it's just totally random. Seth MacFarlane leaves he dropped off the girl. He's walking by, and there's some blue sparks coming from the shed that's in town. He goes and opens the door, and there's Doc Brown. Turns around, freaked out, the hair and everything. He's covering up the DeLorean real quick, and Seth MacFarlane's like, "Hey, what you got there?" And he's like, "Weather equipment." And, and then he's
That's
like,
hilarious.
"Great Scott," is what he says. Is Great Scott thing, and that's it. It was 10 seconds, but it was so cool.
Man, that's great.
And then, what was the big black slave movie?
Django?
Django Unchained. What's his name? The black guy
Jamie
in it.
Foxx?
Jamie Foxx. His Django Unchained character
Oh my God.
makes an appearance in the very end. end credits type of appearance thing and stuff. Because one of the games at the fair is the shooting game, and it's the plates that go by type of thing, old school. But it's Catch a Slave is what it is. It's so non-PC. And Seth MacFarlane makes fun of that. Like, really, you had to do this? It couldn't have been sheep or something else. They were shooting. But Jamie Foxx's Django Unchained character comes out and he kills the guy that works the fair thing that's got the slave things, and so there's some really good cameos, but it wasn't bad. It was just some raunchy stuff and everything, but I got to give them props for doing their best to make it Western feeling. I can't even remember some of the other big names that were in it and stuff like that. But, even the bad guy was a good Western bad guy and stuff like that.
So don't go see it to see Seth MacFarlane, see all the side characters.
Yeah, that's what I liked was the cameo side characters. And, and they go a little far with stuff. But there was things that were in Ted that turned over into this. Giovanni Ribisi is in both of them.
Right.
And his character in both of them. And it's a funny little... I don't know why, but he has this weird dance and he drinks from a straw. And it's in both movies. And the dance cracks me up the way he does because he's a little on the fruity side. Oh, this was a great thing. I'm sorry I'm talking about this movie so much.
You're going to ruin it for people.
Ruining this everything.
I have no reason to see this movie
You
anymore.
have no reason to see it because I'm explaining everything that I loved about it now. I didn't realize how much I liked about it. Giovanni Ribisi's character is courting a whore from the whorehouse. But they're good Christian people, so they're not going to sleep with each other. But he's sitting there in one scene with flowers waiting for her to be done upstairs.
Yeah.
And and it's Sarah Silverman is who it is. And he hears her going off on, put it in there and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And she comes down and it's lovey-dovey and it's everything totally different. And he acts like it's just business. And then when they're walking away, the lady who runs the whorehouse says to her something like, hey, what's his name's going to be here? And Giovanni Ribisi, the boyfriend, says, well, does 5 o'clock work? And for bringing her back for the next job. It's just it's such a... But I don't know. It was funny, though. It's such a weird thing, and his character and their characters are trying to save themselves from marriage, but she's a whore.
That's funny.
It was fun, but I got to give him props. It looked like a very good Western. So,
All right,
but there you go. Yeah, you probably don't even need to see it now. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
There's a couple of good, funny poop things that I thought Jeff would laugh at, but
I'm sure Steve's going to tell me that at some point before.
Yeah, so don't worry. Now that I've ruined the whole movie for everybody, I saved you $2.99 on Google Play.
There you go.
I'm done. That's all I streamed. Jeff, did you stream anything?
Yeah. Well, the last thing I was going to talk about is, you remember last time we were talking about Hoopla? It's this free app that you can get if you have a library card
thing,
that it's
right?
connected with, right? You can watch. So I streamed this old 80s cartoon that I loved when I was a kid. In fact, I had an action figure from it called Cops. It was it's this cartoon. In the vein of all the G.I. Joe, we talked about Rambo had his own cartoon, right? Mm-hmm. So there's this other one, late 80s, called Cops, and it sort of kind of took place in sort of the near, I think the idea is that it sort of takes place in the near future, and sort of the idea that we thought the future was going to be like when we were in the 60s or in the 40s, right, with the blimp things that carry people around, right? So it's not so far to be noirish as it's like black and white and got the private eye and the music and it doesn't go that far. It's very subtle. So it's still a bright, colorful cartoon, and it's not crazy future stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's cool. It's about these cops and trying to stop these bad guys. And just like in G.I. Joe, they're very unique characters. They've all got their special character. They're
backstory, their whatever, their strength, their weakness. Okay.
Yeah, and they're special. It's not like a super ability, but their thing that the demolition guy and the so and so guy, the guy who's got the dog who catches So they all kind of got these contraptions or something unique about them. So it's kind of cool. And I remember I saw at Fry's where they had the first season for sale for $10 or whatever for 20 episodes. Uh-huh. So I was like, so I saw it for free on Hoopla and I checked it out. It was good. It was fun. I really enjoyed the show. Some of the, we talked about streaming some of the shows, and I didn't stream enough to know if each episode was, got to be redundant binge watching we talked about.
Yeah.
But just watching episode was fun, and I really enjoyed it. It streamed really well on my phone, streaming at home from Wi-Fi. The app worked really good.
That's what I say. So they have an app. Hoopla is its own app for
it's
phone.
its own app. Worked great on the phone. Looked really good, quality-wise. Everything, a good experience. The only weird thing is you sort of get used to the Netflix experience, where you can just access it whenever you want.
Right.
But this is very much a checkout and return situation, and you only get 9 checkouts per month. At least my library does. Each library can set its own.
So you have 9 checkouts per month. How long do you have? So I check out Cops. How long do I have to, if I wanted to watch the entire season or whatever it is? Or how
so
does that
you only
work?
have 72 hours per checkout, and if you're doing a TV show,
That's
it's
binge watching right there.
per episode.
What?
So if you're capped at 9, then you can only watch 9 episodes that month.
Ah.
And then you can't check out any more audiobooks or anything like that. Now, a movie I think is also 72 hours, and but like an audiobook is like a month.
But those are all included in your 9. Whether it's an audiobook, a TV episode, or a movie, it's 9. Interesting. Yep. I mean, I'm not going to complain because it's free, but that does kind of suck for a TV show. Yeah. Audiobooks, movies, 9, perfect number. But yeah, a TV show, if I want to binge watch, I can't even make it through a season with 9.
Yeah, so, no, I agree 100% on that. I think that they got to solve that issue with the TV series, because it's not even a good translation. Because if I go to the library and check out that season 1,
you're getting every episode. That's true. It's season 1.
Now I only streamed 1 episode, so I didn't try streaming a second episode to see if it would count against me. It just appeared that way,
right? Because you could only tag the 1. It's not like you were tagging season 1; you were doing season 1, episode 1.
Yeah.
So it would think that you're counting that as 1.
Yeah. So my assumption is if I had played number 2, then it would charge, but I can't say that for sure.
Okay.
But and I think a movie is actually a little bit longer than a TV episode. Maybe that was a week or something. But I know you had a lot more time for like an audiobook, obviously. So some things there. Again, they had a pretty good selection of things. I went back after about a month when I first tried it on to see if they added some new stuff, and they did. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a big, it's not like a Netflix dump. But they did add some new stuff, so they're still adding to the library.
Okay,
so that's good. So I would definitely keep tabs on it, and it's a young app, so I'm sure that it's going to evolve and change, and hopefully they'll fix some of these other things. But in general, it was a good experience.
As far as the app goes, because I'm just curious, since it's a free thing, where does the funding come from?
So the funding comes from the library.
Okay,
and so the library actually pays per use. So if you stream a movie, then they bill the library, and that goes, a percentage to the studio, and then they keep, a certain amount for their operating fees. So if you stream a lot, you're going to be charging your library a lot. But that's why the library can set caps.
Sure, because they are paying for it.
Yeah, because they're paying for it, so they kind of want to keep those things in check. Yeah.
All right. Good. That's a good review, and I really do need to get my library card renewed. So
yeah. So there's a review for you for Hoopla and Cops. It's like,
which I've never even heard of this TV show.
It's great. Yeah.
No, never.
It's a lot of fun. Especially if you're into like the Saturday morning cartoons from that era. Late 80s. I mean, it's really it's well done. It's fun. It's got all the gimmicks you sort of expect, and it's just entertaining.
Beautiful. All right. Well, I know we don't have Carly here, but I still have an obsession, and I'd still like to do my obsession in hopes of actually winning.
Okay.
So, and I think I have a pretty good chance since my opponent's not here. So we can jump into that. I also have a second base. Do you have a film history for us? Or?
I do.
Okay, and I'm going to fake a speed round too. So I think we have got a good full episode here for you folks. All right. So you just hit play on something, and I'll fake it.
All right. Whoa.
Obsession.
This is good faking in music.
All right. This being the final episode, I'm going back to my first true love. Jennifer Lawrence.
All right.
Now, I've got a few things for you. And I actually have a bash on Benedict Cumberbatch because I have it on good word that's what Carly was going to use. Was she was going to go back to her original, too.
Right.
So, but anyways, first off, recently she set a Guinness World Record.
What?
Yes. I didn't realize this, but, Guinness has got categories for everything under the sun. But her character Katniss in Hunger Games is now the highest-grossing action movie heroine of all time.
What?
That's a category for the Guinness World Records.
Did they just make that up for her?
I don't know. I swear every time I hear
Is it
a
the
new
most
one,
nude leaked photos on?
I've got a different fact for that one, actually.
Okay.
Thank you. But, the highest grossing action movie heroine.
That's interesting. I would imagine the Resident Evil movies with Mia Jovovich would be up there, and Sigourney Weaver with the Aliens franchise.
And I couldn't find...
Well, highest grossing, they're making more money nowadays, so that's probably...
And I couldn't find who was before her, because I doubt they made the category for her. But they've got so many weird categories
Now,
with world records.
Is it just limited to that one character in that one movie, or is it overall? Because obviously she plays an action heroiness in X-Men.
It's just that one character. So it's in all of the movies of the Hunger Game movies, but it's that one character, Katniss.
Okay.
So it is just that one character. So, so it's not just her, it's the character she plays. So
right. And then, Halle Berry played Storm.
Yeah.
But she wasn't like the main character, so I don't know if that.
I don't know how that would.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she got that world record. Two hacked nude photos. I just want to say that one thing that Jennifer Lawrence has over Benedict Cumberbatch is her nude pictures and selfies have been hacked.
Yeah.
Cumberbatch, I haven't seen a nude selfie of that guy.
Oh, wow.
Who would want to? Exactly.
She's not here right now.
So there you go. So, that can either be a plus for you or a negative. But I will say this. A cool thing, I was reading some articles on Jennifer Lawrence, and, for a month straight, it's just talking about all these hacked, nude photos and stuff.
Right.
But one of the things they were talking about with her was she never apologized for it. She never apologized because... it was a personal thing,
Right.
and and the article was pretty cool. It's like, some celebrities have apologized for having nude photos. Well, she never apologized for it because she's not sorry for having nude photos. Those were her personal photos.
Right.
And the only two sentences that she said was along the lines of, whoever, did this, we filed reports and, I hope they get caught type of thing or whatever it was. Like, she didn't apologize, though, for having, which I thought was kind of cool because, the typical Hollywood thing is just to say, oh, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry for that, blah, blah, and then they move on with their lives, So that was an interesting thing on that. But yes, so she's got some nude photos. But
it's always interesting to me that celebrities will put nude photos up on the cloud.
Yeah.
I often wonder if they hope something happens and then things get out and then they can say, well, I didn't want to have them out, but since they got blah, blah,
Right. They're looking for
It's
more publicity for it or something.
What do you think is going to happen if you have nude photos on a cloud somewhere?
Yeah. Your phone
Eventually,
auto backup.
Something's going to happen.
Something's going to happen.
And see, that's what I think. I think that they're just sending them to a they're on the road a lot, so they're probably sending it to a boyfriend or something like that, and then they don't think about it being backed up to whatever.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. Somebody has a copy of that. So, lesson learned, children.
Yeah.
With your nude selfies.
Exactly how young of children are you speaking
Well,
of?
let's see. She was born in 1990. That's pretty children-like to me. Can you process
She's not
that?
a child, Steve.
She's
a
not.
woman.
She's a woman. But when I realized today that she was born in 1990, I thought, damn it, she's younger than my little brother.
Yeah.
So here is something that aged me a bit.
Okay.
So
this is the longest obsessions ever.
Yeah. So I for those of you who don't know, I'm actually, I've been doing film history in here. I'm actually teaching film classes now at Grand Canyon. And
so that means you're old.
Good students, yeah, it is. So I showed them a clip in one of my classes, and the clip I showed was the introduction from the Jeffersons TV show,
okay.
Yeah.
right? Okay, the Jeffersons was the #1 sitcom the year I was born. Okay,
all right.
So I was thinking about the perspective for these students, and I thought, what was the #1 sitcom the year they were born?
Yes.
And I looked it up, and it was Seinfeld. The Jeffersons
to Seinfeld.
Seinfeld.
Yep.
That was the gap.
Holy crap!
Yeah, there you
All
go.
right.
There's an age gap.
Is
Wow.
that when the next day, did you come in with a walker?
No, I went home to a noose. I think that,
that was the day.
Yeah.
All right. My final little factoids for Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes.
This was Huffington Post had this, and this was 24 things on how to live an extraordinary life according to Jennifer Lawrence. So they had 24 things. I whittled it down to my favorite 10.
Okay.
And these are based off of either things she said, things she's done, whatever, but
right.
how to live an extraordinary life. Number one, sometimes hanging out in your underwear is the key to happiness.
I could see that with
Yep.
her.
Yep. Number two,
her hanging out in her.
Yeah, I mean,
is the key to my
beacon
happiness.
of my happiness for sure.
Number two, always remember to love and embrace your body. That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, all right.
I could love and embrace her body.
Number three, French fries are God's gift to the world.
Okay.
Okay.
Number four, as is pizza.
Yeah.
Number five, tell poop jokes at inappropriate times. Number six, tripping and falling is the new it thing. Number
she
seven,
can say that.
when you say you're going to dance with J-Lo, dance with J-Lo, which is a good story behind that one. Number eight, photobomb your friends whenever possible. Number nine, do something crazy every now and then. And then number 10, make funny faces because life is good. So I'm going through this list, and the
There you
Jennifer
go.
Lawrence thing, that's actually a funny, if you look it up on like Hulu, they have a lot of Jimmy Fallon clips, but there's a time, I guess she and Jimmy Fallon were at a party, and they agreed that they were going to go up and ask Jennifer Lawrence, or Jennifer Lopez to a dance. So they went to do it, and Jimmy Fallon backs out at the last minute. So Jennifer Lawrence is up there by herself, and it's a whole thing. And the two of them go back and forth with it, and it's really funny. So that's where that whole, when you say you're going to dance with J-Lo, you dance with J-Lo. You don't back down.
Gotcha.
Right.
And she gives Jimmy Fallon a hard time about that. But anyways, so I'm going through all these. Tell poop jokes at inappropriate times. Make funny faces because life is good. Tripping and falling is the new it thing. And I realized the reason I'm in love with Jennifer Lawrence. Because she's Jeff Brewer with boobs.
Oh my goodness.
I realized that that's what it is. Because Jeff likes poop jokes.
I do.
Yeah.
He gets a good laugh because he trips and falls. I have so many stories of that growing up with this guy.
Yeah.
And the funny faces, the do crazy things every now and then, photobomb your friends. Everything about this is like,
Now, do you want to see Jeff walking around in his underwear?
I have. We lived
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
That's true.
You
That's
know?
true.
Yeah.
And,
So
and
do you
you,
guys
gotta,
want me
and
to
you
leave?
always have to remember to love and embrace your body.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Wow, that is a
that's
revelation.
My obsessions that I'm going to live.
That is
I'm ending on this revelation I have for
Man.
why it is. I think I love Jennifer Lawrence because she is the female version of Jeff Brewer.
Well,
That's-
I'll tell you,
That's something.
Carly, you can email me your thoughts if you want, but you're not going to beat that. There's no.
Wait, we
there's
haven't had a
no-
vote yet. There's one for me and one for you. So.
No, I.
No, Steve
I'm
wins.
All right.
the ultimate decision.
There we
This
go.
is-
So that was
all
my-
right.
that was
so
my
yeah,
obsession.
good. That was a good obsession. All right.
That was what my obsession was going to be.
So you're basically obsessed over Jeff, is what you're saying.
Basically, I think in the end, what I've realized
what it is.
over 2 years of this
Yeah,
podcast,
right.
over however long we've been doing the obsessions, I've actually been obsessing over Jeff this whole
Wow.
time.
That
And I didn't realize it.
Wow, that's great. Yet somehow Tiffany's having your child.
And-
yeah, thankfully.
Well, because that's how biology
yeah,
works.
it sort of works that way.
That's a good point.
So there you go. All right. Let's move on.
Okay, no pressure, Jeff.
No
but I hope
pressure,
you got
Jeff,
something
but-
that's.
What's your entertainment for tonight?
Yeah, exactly. What do we got going?
I have film history. I kind of feel like I should have done 12A or the history of Steve and Jeff.
Hey, this is improv, so work it in somehow.
Well, yeah. You gotta work it in.
Work it in somehow.
I don't know how.
Let's do the music.
See, what else?
All right, let's.
Play some music. We'll go
right.
from there.
It's time for This Week in Film History.
I dated a girl once who I'm convinced was obsessed with Steve. I don't know if that ties
It's a
in.
good way to start.
That's a good way to start because that's historic, right?
Right.
Yes.
It's historic.
Right.
It
Did
has
it have
to-
anything to do
and
with
you
films
went to
I did?
yeah, you went to a movie with her, I assume.
yeah, I went
Film
to a
history.
movie
There you
with
go.
her. Yeah, she did stuff
Boom.
with us, and
history.
But you were certain that she was obsessed with me.
yeah.
I could see that.
A
about
lot of
people.
girls were when we were growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve
In,
was
in
like
her
a magnet.
in her defense, I have guy friends who are obsessed with Steve.
So
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
it was a normal thing.
Steve and I did a shoot once, and I invited this guy I knew to come be a part of the film. And by the end of the day, he was following Steve around like a lost puppy dog, and it was like, hey, this Steve guy is really incredible. I'm like, yeah, that's just the appeal of Steve.
Yeah.
He just has that effect on human beings.
What
it's
film was this, or can we name this guy?
No,
we can't?
he might
On the
might
air?
be listening, so I'm not gonna. Yeah, but really, you could throw a rock and hit one of these guys.
Yeah, you
I
could.
know, because if you would think about half of our youth group, they were like little ducklings running behind Steve. Like that's the appeal of Steve.
I've had at least two guys that I can think of, and I'll name the two guys, Joel and Chris, who at some point or another during our career, like the girls they dated or maybe eventually married or whatever, they've told me is like, yeah, she really loved you. Or something like that, or
yeah.
she really wanted to date you, or she really respects you, or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, it doesn't surprise me, but sometimes I wish I could be like outside of my body to see like what I'm like.
The big deal is
But I know growing up it was just like I had no problem with confidence, and to the point of like, you know, a few friends like, you know, Michelle, who we've done some films with and stuff back in the day, she would call it narcissistism, you know, because like I had no problem with, you know, a big head type of thing, and I think that's what it was like the confidence just sold it, and I could care less sometimes what people thought of me. So,
which it probably is why we made such good friends, because I'm about the most insecure person in the world. So I don't know if
Not
that,
anymore.
You know, it goes. Yeah,
Steve
so,
loves you.
that's right. Now
He obsesses over
now
you.
we know.
Yeah, honestly, I learned a lot of my conference from watching Steve. I think that was a part of it. And this is, I guess, our history too. I'm sure I've told you that. Like when I first met Steve, I wasn't one of those guys who was like in puppy dog. I was like, Steve's kind of obnoxious. I was like, I can see how this guy's gonna get kind of annoying. He thinks a lot of himself.
Such an
and
asshole.
whatever. And you know that's also coming
This
from
is like
someone,
a therapy session here.
Yeah.
Our last podcast.
So it also comes from someone who's like kind of an entertainer, so maybe I saw that as a little bit of a threat. But yeah, obnoxious. He was bouncing off of the pews in church, and like, who's this guy? Yeah, that's your one of your future best friends, Jeff. So swallow that. Right?
Yeah, like the ghost of future.
Yeah, right.
Hey, so if it's any concession, I once asked this girl out, and she's like, "Well, what can you tell me about your friend Chad?"
But that guy,
So, I mean, Chad.
he's got the hair.
Yeah,
Sometimes
Chad
he's
is
got-
he's a hottie. I have
I
to
can
admit.
see that.
Yeah.
But so it's
So you get
happened
it.
to other people.
So
I'm
you
just
get
saying.
it. So what you're saying is like every generation or every group has that guy. There
Has
or
the guy
something,
that the
so.
girls are interested in.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of Sam Chad stories that are similar to Steve Jeff
Exactly.
Stories.
Yeah,
like they were the
I've
generation
heard
before
Yeah.
us.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Sam and I have bonded over our Chad and Steve stories.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And the irony is, both of you guys are married, and Chad and I are both single still.
yeah, that's
So
Oh,
I
I
don't
didn't
really,
think about that. Wow,
I don't
it's
really
a
know.
parallel universe.
Yeah,
Whoa,
it's
how
like parallel.
crazy is that?
Weird.
I'm trying to think. My first time, since we're on the history thing, with Sammy. But the first like big memories I have are when we did the medium rare improv stuff, though. You know, that was my first memories of
Was
Sammy.
he not in Yale? Were you in Yale? You were in Yale.
No, no,
we
and
did that.
and I have some
Yale.
memories there of that, but like, I don't know, maybe it's just like,
I know
Yeah,
some
we-
people
Big one
block
for that.
memories of
We didn't
Yale,
really
though.
hang out much until then. That's
no,
true.
that was when we started hanging out a lot, and we had the 2 a.m. Denny's type of stuff and everything like that.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. All right, well,
I do know, speaking of the Chad stories, the easiest casting we ever did ever. We're doing if any of you guys know us, you have to get us
Chick
to
Hunter.
show you these old movies
Chick
called
Hunter.
Chick Hunter.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, and I think we ended up calling it Chick Files, and we made a
Files.
DVD, and we should sell them online or put it on our YouTube channel or something. So if you guys hound us enough about Chick Hunter, then we'll find a way to get you guys this stuff. But it was a parody of. Well, you tell them, Sam. What
Crocodile.
was
Well,
it?
it was,
right?
it was a parody of Steve Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter.
Right, back when he was-
This was before he passed away.
yeah, back when he was big and yeah.
Right, and so we had this idea to do something like that, except I'm going around talking about girls in their natural habitat and trying to instruct other
Right.
guys on how they're supposed to act and all of that kind of thing.
Right.
And so so we did 2 episodes of it, and we were thinking about doing a third, and that's when Steve passed away, Steve Irwin. And so we're like, okay, we're going to take a break from it. But the second one we did involved a scene in which Chad was in a jacuzzi with 3 other women.
Right.
And I think that's probably the reference you're talking about,
Yes.
the easiest
Yeah.
casting job.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it was perfectly cast because it was probably natural to Chad. Let's just be
Yeah, it
honest.
was.
So, like he's like, yeah, this is my usual weekend.
Yeah.
You know, like,
So how different is this than from what I normally do?
yeah. So
Yeah.
what you're saying is you just want to film.
We're
me
like,
on
Chad,
a
we want you to
weekend?
act, and he's like, no, I'm not acting.
It's
I
natural.
do this all the time.
Yeah, I think I know you did the casting for that, and I remember following up and having to be like, well, did we get the girls for the scene? And Sam was like, don't worry about it.
We had to cut out girls for this.
Yeah, we had a line around the block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those situations where, you know, in the movie, what's your favorite Christmas movie?
Love Actually.
Yeah, so in Love Actually, right, when the guy does the scene in the house where the girls take his clothes off and you returned his salary for that day.
Yes. Yeah.
I think Chad would have done the same.
That's true.
I think the girls would have it well.
Yeah,
yeah.
and the scene turned out great. Actually,
It did.
No, I did.
that worked out well.
And that was probably, I mean, you could say that was our first like episodic type of thing we did. Really,
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That chick.
There were a
Files,
couple of
so-
years in between each episode, but yeah,
Yep.
that was fun.
And that was a long time ago because I think in that third last one was when my sister was like just pregnant with my niece and she's like 11 now. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
gosh,
yeah, so that was a while ago.
yeah.
So, and great improvised stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another thing. That was like we improvised. Did we do that before? I think we did that before Medium Rare, didn't we?
Yeah,
we were
way
like,
before. Way
now
before.
that we're talking,
we
yeah,
did
we're
like
getting
improv
further into my
before we did
brain here.
improv. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wild.
No, we just
Okay, Jeff,
knew the direction.
was
So
that-
we're film historying ourselves now.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, well, that was fun. Yeah, that's
Okay.
our last. That's our last one. Who cares?
Yeah, who
We'll
cares?
do whatever the hell we want.
We're at 55 minutes. Who cares?
If you stopped listening, you missed out.
yeah. yeah. What are we gonna do? Lose a listener?
yeah,
please.
exactly.
We're losing you all here next week.
All right. So, when we started the pod, I kept thinking, like, how can I kind of make this full circle, right?
Okay.
So, back when we first started the podcast, I was trying to do, like, this day, this week, this month, whatever, in film history. So, that's what I did. So, I looked up, what happened in film history, and this is the anniversary of the death of this guy. His name's Irving Thalberg. And if you watch the Oscars or whatever, there's the Irving Thalberg Award that's given away. And so there's a lot that's in memory of this guy. Basically, he was a producer back in the studio system, right back when they controlled, the story and the directors and the casting.
They owned
built
the actors and stuff. Yeah.
So they weren't the studio owners; they were the guys who actually developed the stories, and they were the guys who somehow were able to take what was essentially a manufacturing system and make art and good storytelling out of it.
Okay.
So their ability to do that was just uncanny in this situation, and especially in a medium that was so young. So what else is really interesting about this guy is he died in his 30s, so a young death. But he wasn't supposed to live much really past his 20s because he was born with this heart defect.
Oh, okay.
And so what's interesting is he's born with this heart defect. He has a lot of sick illness and things that he has to work through as a kid. He, at 17, he has rheumatic fever and has to stay home a lot. So he has a lot. The world's pretty much set against him from the beginning. And if you know you're going to have a short lifespan, what really are you aspiring to, knowing that that's going to be cut short, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I sort of feel like we live in this world today where we hear those stories, we see some good TV shows about it, we see some good movies, but we don't really live our lives like that. Like in our day-to-day lives, like we sort of accept the fact that it's the end, or I don't really care, or we just don't give it. Like how many people in this world, have everything set out for them, lots of opportunity, and we're still depressed,
Right.
We still don't give it our all, really, And I'm a victim of this. I'm not trying to blame people for this. I can relate to this. And here's somebody, and he was born, like a lot of guys who were successful in the movie industry, born to a poor immigrant family, And so, but he was determined and he had a good work ethic. And so when he was, when he was still a young guy, normally what you would do is you would look into the classified ads and see what jobs there were and go apply for them. He said, screw that. He took out an ad for himself and wrote, said, situation wanted, secretary, stenographer, Spanish, English, high school education, no experience, $15. And he took out, that was his ad.
That was his ad
and
for
he
himself.
Got he got a job. He taught himself how to be a stenographer. He taught himself Spanish, and he would take, work at night and, take part-time jobs where he could to learn his things. And he worked hard and it paid off. So he worked his way into the New York studio, working with Carl Lammel, who worked for the beginning of Universal Pictures. And then he took him out to the new LA studio, and Thalberg was, learning a lot from Lammel. He was a very bright guy, learned a lot about movie making, and then he left him in LA or outside LA. Actually, at Universal. I don't know if you remember, we talked about who was Thomas Ince. Remember we talked about Thomas Ince? Like, that was one of our early big film history things about how he started Universal and how he
started
had
that whole process
death,
and everything.
that crazy death, right? So the Universal, same sort of system, right? So he's developing things back there. Lammel comes back, asks him how things are going. Thalberg says, you really need someone to manage the studio out here and to, keep you up to date and be the day-to-day operations things. And he said, okay, great, you're the guy. But he was like 19, 20 at the time, right? So he's this really young guy. So his whole life he's called the boy because he's just really
Just
super
a child.
young.
He's the kid.
Yeah, he's like a child, but he has all this power and he's still brilliant. And I think because of his heart condition or whatever, he's had this like really super mellow temperament. So you think of all the studio heads back there, like the cigar smoking, bigger
bigger life, yelling, big loud guys, and he's just a small.
Right. So there's all these like really cool stories about him, like approaching these guys, like Erich von Stroheim, right? Big, strong. He's like the Arnold Schwarzenegger of the day, right? He was the writer, producer, director of his film, and he was this big Austrian guy. And he was filming this movie called Foolish Wives, I think. And he didn't end. He would just start filming a movie and just not stop. And eventually this idea he had for, a narrative that was supposed to be regular length turned into a 6 to 8 hour movie that he was going to split into 2 days. And he wasn't done with it. He still kept going.
Jeez.
And so, so Thalberg calls him into his office. And here comes von Stroheim, and he's dressed as a military guard because that's the scene he was filming that day. He has all of his production guys with him, right, coming into his office. Thalberg sits there very calmly, coolly, and he's like, look, I've reviewed all of your footage, and I think we have a story. I think we can tell it, so you're done. You're done filming this movie. Go home. And he's like, no, I'm not. He throws a big, fit. And Thalberg's like, no, I'm sorry. That's it. You shot your movie. We asked you to stop. You didn't wrap it up and you're done. And so he gets pissed off and he's like, he's like, you scrawny little punk. He's like, if you weren't my boss, I would run over there and I'd beat you up and throw you out the window. And Thalberg goes, well, why should you let that stop you?
Wow.
Like, who has the balls?
To say that to some big dude who could do that?
Yeah. And that's just how he operated everything. So he was just well-liked, worked really hard, became super successful, and he still died at a young age and was a brilliant storyteller. He developed things like the test audience and reshooting scenes that didn't work. He pioneered stuff like that. And
such a crazy thing to think that was something that had to be pioneered, doing a second take.
Well, it wasn't so much a second
thing.
take as it was, we get into the edit room, we see it doesn't work, or the test audience didn't respond to it, so we're going to go do reshoot
and
again,
then
come back.
Because we're not just stuck with this scene we shot, type of thing. Yeah. Huh.
So he pioneered a lot of cool stuff like that, and then of course he passed away at a very young age in his 30s. So
from the heart condition, I'm assuming.
37. It was his actual. From his heart.
What's funny is I saw Smokey and the Bandit on TV.
Oh wow!
This past
the first
weekend.
one,
the first one, the very first one.
Okay.
No, the very first one. And that was one of the first movies to really show like outtakes during the credits.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, to your point, Steve, we take so many things for granted these days, but there was a first time something happened in a movie. Right? There was a first time somebody did a test audience and had to reshoot footage, right? There was a first time, there's a blooper reel.
Right.
There was a first time something happened, and it's like we take so many things for granted nowadays, and it's like when you really go back and look at film history, there was a first time for this, and people were pioneers in it. Right? And you're like, wow, that's kind of...
It's cool to think
it kind of blows your mind,
mm-hmm.
but it's really simple and straightforward at the same time. It's like, wow.
Yeah, what's cool is those things are still happening because, especially in the digital age where things are going online. Well, one thing, like Marvel really introduced us to the idea of being able to create a universe within multiple films, right?
Yes, yeah.
And that's been
tie-ins and stuff like that.
Stuff like that. And that's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then, digital film online, binge watching is really a new thing.
Mm-hmm.
Interactive shows are, becoming more of a thing.
Like production blogs. You know, like they did that for The Hobbit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, production
and
blogs.
It's like...
No, it's cool to think of with all that stuff.
It is.
Sammy, you reminded me of Playboy here. This is so going off.
Oh man, this is interesting. What?
Okay, Smokey and the Bandit. So
Yeah.
Playboy, cover, usually some hot girl, something like that.
Right.
So the UPS driver at my work, I fixed something for him, something electrical, whatever, old radio. I got it all fixed. Had his ancient battery in it. So he's like, "Hey man, is there anything you want?" I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "Hey, you know what? I got this guy I deliver to that is getting rid of a whole bunch of old Playboys." And I'm like,
no.
Okay. I was like, you know what?
Did you clear it with Tiffany?
Well, I said, you know what? This would be a cool thing to own. Find out if he's got the October 1979 Playboy, because that's the month I was born and year I was born. I was like, that'd be a cool thing to have,
Okay.
So I was like, can you go find this? Yeah, and he did. And so I have it. It's in my garage right now. I've got the October 1979 Playboy. The cover of the October 79 Playboy is Burt Reynolds.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my gosh!
Talk about
Burt Reynolds with the Playboy bunny.
Talk about
is
a
what it
letdown.
is. Yeah.
Steve just handed me the picture, and
It's legit.
Yeah.
Wow, that's hilarious. I did not know that, by the way. For you listeners, I didn't bring that up just to segue into Steve.
No, as soon as you said that, I thought, God, I got to tell them about this. I forgot
That's funny.
I haven't brought it up, but yeah, it's Burt Reynolds wearing Playboy bunny ears with a Playboy bunny.
Is that why you're watching Magnum PI?
No, that's not why I'm watching.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So Burt Reynolds. But anyways,
well, how would you like to?
So maybe that was the first time they had a man on the cover of Playboy talking about first times.
But he was.
So what was your wife's reaction to I'm bringing a Playboy home?
I don't. She was like, "What is that?" But and then I told her what it was, and she didn't care. It's in the garage. I'll tell you what, I really, really did. What a throwback! Like, because just the speakers and the tape players and stuff like that, they're advertising it and everything.
Yeah.
So old, and literally, like, there are very, very few pictures in that thing.
Really?
No, there really are. Like, I will totally bring it over sometime, but there are very few pictures in that, and the ones that are pretty covered. A lot of them and stuff like that. It's not today's Playboy at all, if you've seen one or not.
That's because people read it for the articles.
But no, I seriously, that I would get that. I totally would. Like, it's advice for guys and stuff like that, and it's a question and answers thing, and there's some jokes in there, and there's some nude pictures and stuff too. But then, like, the old advertisements, like, I think the back page of it is about the latest, greatest, tape deck and stuff like that, the newest technology and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an interesting throwback. But
ask him if he has November from '81.
Yeah.
I wanted to go with my Jefferson's collection.
There you go. There you go. So it's
Playboy
kind of a
wasn't
cool
even
thing.
around when I
So-
was born.
so what I wanted to start doing is find what was the computer magazine, what was the big thing in October 1979 computer magazine wise or movie wise, what was the big magazine, have that copy. I'd love to have a collection of October 1979 magazines.
I actually just did this last week where if you go to Wikipedia and type in the year you were born, you can go see what the
What was happening?
So they'll
Interesting.
go through they'll go through month by month and say what all the big news items was. So you can see if there was like a big news item. Like there wasn't anything on November 4th of '81, but like November 5th, some country freed its slavery, right? So I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good thing, right? That's
Yeah.
kind of positive. And then after that, they go through all the celebrity birthdays. So you can see like who was born. And Roger Federer was born like 2 months from me, which makes me want to jump off a cliff. It's like, God, he did that with it. Like you could have accomplished that in
In the same time frame,
in the same period.
I'd
I've
get
accomplished
depressed.
what exactly?
Yeah, you're right.
He was born
you're
in Switzerland. That's a totally different. They have a lot more
opportunity.
opportunity there.
So my thought on that is, so my birthday's coming up. It's going to be 33, I think. I've lost track.
I stopped counting.
I always have to ask my wife because I forget. And so but if it is 33, which I think it is, there's this great quote in Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. Have you guys seen that with Sam Rockwell and George Clooney, where George Clooney's trying to talk Sam Rockwell into like being a spy, and he's like you're 33. He's like, Jesus Christ was died and raised from the dead by the time he was 33. What have you done with your life? And I kind of feel that way when I look at Roger Federer. But anyways, so you can see that sort of stuff on Wikipedia.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
No, yeah. So anyway, sorry for all the left turns there on your film history, but
Yeah, we don't care actually.
but we
To
really
be honest with you, we don't care. We're
there
gonna
you go.
do things the way we want to do.
Left
you
turn,
guys
right
go
turn.
Google your birth year and see who's on the Playboy cover of yours.
Right.
So there you go.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Jeff. Our birthdays are the same week, so mine's like just 5 days before his,
that's
and
right.
or 6 days. So
Yeah.
I'm 35, so I know you're turning 33.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I'm
thanks.
turning
Right.
35. You're 33. I know
Right.
that's what it is. So.
All right.
Yeah, and no, I didn't do anything.
So you like
Jesus.
younger women, is what you're saying?
What I can say is that 1990 Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, no, what you're going to be able to say is, Dylan, the year you were born, there were some pictures that came out.
This was the Playboy cover.
This is the play. This was.
It was online, actually.
There's this thing called an iCloud.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Son, it's your 21st birthday. I've been waiting
Yeah.
21 years to hand
Show
this
you
photo
this.
off.
Yeah. He's like, wait, can I touch this? Where's the 3D hologram?
Yeah,
of this
right,
thing?
yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah, by then, really.
Yeah, exactly.
You just looked at the pictures? What? That's crazy.
You want to hit me up with some second base? Because I'm going to try and be as epic as possible for this
do it.
last
All
one.
right, man.
This is a little segment we like to call How to Get to Second Base for $1. Oh, yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the second base for $1 that's going to be the sign-off one until we start doing the YouTube videos.
Better be good.
So, this is not one that's currently in Redbox, though it has popped up in Redbox at different varying times, because this movie has been good and a solid second base movie for a decade now. This
Okay,
is the
so
10th.
it's not about time.
No, it's not about time. It's not.
Okay.
This is the 10th year anniversary of this movie coming out.
Is this a home run for $1 movie?
This might be. Oh no, this not. It might be. This is a home run for $1 movie.
Oh,
Is
okay.
where we're going with this
Oh,
one.
And
Okay.
is
Wow.
it 10th anniversary?
This is the 10th anniversary of this movie. It came out in
Okay.
2004. But this is a movie that, to go off of what we talked about with me, this is a movie that I would have a 98% success rate at getting to second base with. So the average person has at least an 80% success rate. So I'm going to
Nice.
say you got an 80% success rate with
Nice.
this,
All
right.
and it's The Notebook.
Ah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Now,
Come on,
Nicholas
Steve.
Sparks,
Come
I'm
on.
sorry. I'm sorry. Sammy, I'm sorry.
I'm just going to take my headphones off for
You
this
can take them off, that's fine. But
But
most
he's right. It works.
it works.
Well, I'm
but,
sure.
and most
It's
Nicholas Sparks
might be an
things
investment for you.
probably work, and I've probably seen 3 or 4 of them because Tiffany likes them. But The Notebook is the one that works, and it's not a bad story. I love it because it's a 1940s era. You know, and so it's a very like beautiful backdrop, the town and everything, and I love the era. So it's just a good old love story all the way up to the very end. But Ryan Gosling, James Marsden, who played in X-Men, he was Scott Summers, Cyclops. James Marsden, and then Rachel McAdams. So you have good-looking people and everything in it. It's narrated by James Garner, and so the narration is great. But it's an entire love story. It's like just over 2 hours long. But it's an entire love story that like spans decades. And when you realize what's going on about 2/3 of the way through it, with the present, them, and how the story's being told, it's just like beautifully done. And you know what? Spoiler alert, they die at the end. And it's like the most emotional thing that person next to you is going to want to be with you immediately, because they want to hold you and die with you at the end too. Like, it's just like that, you know, it's really, really well done. And I'm going to guarantee The Notebook is a second base. So for all you guys out there, which 10 years, I mean, shoot, that means some of you people were only 6 years old when this thing came out, and you may not even know about it, but buy it. It's going to be the best $7.99 you spent wherever you find it at, and put it in your collection, because this is date night worthy type of thing. And hey, maybe you could be the person that shows it to her for the first time and she never heard about it, and she's going to be in love with it. So
yeah, I think one of the things with this movie, though, is even if it's the 15th time, you're still going to get to second base. You still might get a home run.
You still might get it. Like, I have not seen the movie in a few years. I know I haven't, at least 2 or 3 years. But just thinking about it and going back and rewatching some clips and like the trailer for it and stuff like that, and when everything started coming back to me, I was like, yeah, no, this was... Everything about this movie, because they talk about, you know, I mean, it was the World War that was going on, and he gets shipped off for the war and everything, and then coming back. Like, there's so much that happens, and she waits for him, but she doesn't. And, you know, James Marsden's character comes in, and who does she actually end up with? You're not sure at some points in the movie, but you're cheering for this one person, and, you know, love everlasting type of theme throughout the whole thing. And it is throughout the whole thing, all the way up to the very end when they die. So it's, yeah. So there you go. Notebook. You have at least an 80% chance of getting to second base.
Now, I know this movie has a special place in your home, Sam.
Yeah.
Continue.
Well, it was funny because that's one of the movies that I couldn't watch either.
Okay.
All the way to the end. Mm-hmm. But my parents were staying with me for a while, and it was funny because I have 2 rooms, and they had 2 TVs, and they had a TV in each room at one point. Mm-hmm. And so I come out, and my mom is watching sports on the one TV in the one room. Mm-hmm. My dad is watching The Notebook in the other TV. And I was like, wait a minute. This is like a total role reversal.
Right, yeah.
Right? My dad's like, oh, this is a great movie. And I'm like, Dad, come on.
Seriously, Dad?
Seriously. You should be watching it with Mom. She's over there watching sports.
Yeah.
Or, you know, it's like...
one of you needs to move to the other room.
One of you needs to move to the other room.
It makes it better.
It's like, Dad, you left your man card in the other room.
Exactly.
Yeah, with Mom.
Exactly. So, yeah,
awesome.
that was like Frozen. I watched part of it. I'm like... And maybe it was just the mood I was in at the time. Mm-hmm. But of course, I'm single.
So
it's
maybe
also,
that's why. and it's not a romantic comedy, because I can think of like romantic comedies and stuff that are good, but yeah, it's total romance drama is what it is.
My dad gave me the whole rundown, and I'm like,
yeah.
I think if I was single and I watched The Notebook, I would want to stay single, because she would get on my nerves at some point. And actually, I'll tell you my favorite thing about that movie is not the movie itself. There's this animated GIF that's on Facebook. Have you seen that? Where there's the scene where he's like, "What do you want? What do you want?" He's like screaming at her, and so above it is this caption is like, "Every time I ask my girlfriend or wife where she wants to eat."
That's true.
Oh, that's funny.
I've been married a while. That's totally
I'm like,
true.
oh, okay, that's
appropriate.
accurate.
Yeah,
that's accurate.
All right. I don't know. Oh, so good.
Let me just ask you one last question. That movie, though, would it be anywhere near as popular or effective if it didn't have the older couple part of the movie and it was just...
You know, I don't know how you end it. I don't think it would be near as effective, because you don't see the longevity of the love type of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
That to me was what made the movie,
Right.
and you kind of got to get through the rest of it.
Because if you were just watching like their little love story type of thing, it really would have been just a typical drama 1940s,
Yeah.
romance type of thing. Whether they ended up together or not in the end, because you're just seeing that small chunk. But the fact that you are able to go forward completely and see that whole thing. Well, Atonement that I talked about in the last podcast was one I just watched, and it's a similar thing, but they don't end up together. They end up dying during the war, both of them, but you don't realize that. And even though you see decades later what's happening with the rest of the family and stuff like that, like I think that because you can see that very end last result in the Notebook, that's what makes this movie such a good romance movie.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. I mean, that's the only reason it won awards when it did and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it did decently in the box office, too.
Yeah.
So, but that's why, because especially at that time, every girl wants that person that they're going to be in love with till they're old
right?
and,
'Cause that's the thing.
wrinkly. So that's
Yeah.
it. That's that commitment thing. And that's, so on the other hand, watch out, guys. You might attract a crazy. I don't know, so
Yeah.
you might not get rid of her. She might think you're the one.
Right.
So,
yeah. She's
depending-
going to want something that's going to stick.
Yeah, forever.
Yeah.
So, well, we're breaking over the hour mark, right, Sammy?
Yeah, we're like at 120 right now.
Okay, we're at 120.
Okay.
Speed round?
I don't care. I'm going to fake a speed round.
Let's
I'm
do
actually
it, yeah.
pulling up. Okay, let's speed round this, and I'll explain. So what you guys all might not realize is Speed Round, if you've been listening to us for all 50 episodes, you'd know the incarnation of how this began. But Jeff and I both keep separate notes. And so I have this note, and it's one long Google document that goes back pretty much to the very beginning. And so it's pages long. So I have some of our original questions for Speed Round. And some of Speed Round, all that we told each other back in the day was what the topic was. So, like, there's one in here.
Yeah, that's
you remember
right.
that? There's one in here where, for Speed Round, like, Jeff's topic was musicals, and that's all he knew was I was going to speed round him on musicals. So it was more of like a quiz type thing than the speed round it is today. And his, for me, would be like action movies. And that's all I knew. I had no clue what my questions were going to be, what the answers could be, or anything like that. Now it's turned into this, would you rather almost type of thing.
Yeah.
It's that kind of speed round. But I'm going to go back to some of my old speed round questions. And just to see, what your answers might be now. I don't honestly remember what your answers were back then or anything like that. But I've got this great one. And this goes back, let's see, what else did we talk about in this episode? Oh, yeah, these are all really good ones. So this goes back to back when he did the game where I was a hawk and flying over a canyon.
Oh my
whatever.
gosh!
I mean, this is like this is
Oh, yeah, I
easily like
remember that.
20 or 25 episodes ago. All right. And for some reason, my note in here is nomophobia, which 73% of people have it, and it's the fear of being without your phone. So
Okay.
I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to speed round you, Jeff, and this is 15 questions. If you could watch only one movie for the rest of your life, would it be Princess Bride or The Muppet Movie?
The Muppet Movie.
Drink of choice, iced tea or lemonade?
Iced tea.
Netflix or Hulu Plus?
Netflix.
A movie starring Brad Pitt or George Clooney?
George Clooney.
If you could only watch one type of movie style, would it be romantic comedy or action adventure?
Romantic comedy.
Are the Kardashians overrated or do we need more of them? Name 2 Kardashian sisters.
Kim and Chloe.
Lady Gaga,
so sad.
artist or whack job?
Both.
Brian Regan or the Larry the Cable Guy?
Brian Regan.
If you had to kill off Muppet, would you kill off Kermit or Animal?
Hermit.
Pie or cake?
Cake.
Terminator or
It's
Alien?
not true. It's a pie.
Terminator or Alien?
Terminator.
Bigger phobia, scorpions or spiders?
Scorpions.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Muppet Christmas Carol or Muppet Treasure Island?
Christmas Carol.
Okay, there we go. That was a more recent one, but yeah.
Yeah, I want to recant my Princess Bride one. I would actually watch that one over the Muppet.
Would you?
movie,
Okay,
yeah.
I think it's funny that you said I lied. It's cake or whatever.
Yeah, the cake is a lie.
Cake is a lie.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I just lied right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. And then
Nice.
that was it. So thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, it was fun.
I picked that one because it had a lot of the Muppet stuff in it.
Yeah,
That was kind
all
of
right.
a thing in the beginning. So all
So
right.
I have a couple for you.
Okay.
So first one, since you brought that up, I went back because I have the same sheet, and I found the first sort of 2. I called them the gauntlet back then. It was the first where we sort of making that a real speed round where it was rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Before that, because before that it was like these long answers, and we kind of got to the point where why are we calling this speed
It
round?
was just slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So So I did 2. I'll give you in rapid succession. I won't even pause. I'm going to give you the first 2 gauntlets.
Okay.
So Sam, you can get on this too. So I'm going to answer the question.
Oh
You
my
guys
gosh.
got to be right there, and we're going to
Okay.
rifle right through these. And then I'll tell you the one I wrote for this week. That's a little bit more interesting. All right.
Okay.
So do we both answer at the same time, or are you going to ask one or the other?
No, I'll answer, and then whoever just give me your answers.
Okay.
All right, here we go. All right. Halloween, campy comedy or scary thriller?
Scary
Campy
thriller.
comedy.
All right, rom-com, at-home date night or action movie at the theater with the boys?
Action movie.
Happy endings where everything works out, or hardcore ending where everybody dies?
Hardcore ending.
Hardcore.
All right, wimpy hero learns to be a badass, or a badass hero learns to be more badass?
Wimpy hero.
Hero.
All right, a story that makes you think, or a story that makes you feel better?
Think.
Comedy, make it vulgar or keep it clean?
Keep it clean.
Yeah, keep it clean.
The guy gets the girl, or the guy learns a life lesson?
Guy
Girl.
gets a girl.
Good. Christmas movies, indie and different, or the more cliche, the better?
More
Indian
cliche.
different.
All right. We need more Thanksgiving movies, or why the hell would somebody make a Thanksgiving movie?
Why the hell would someone
Yeah,
make a Thanksgiving movie?
Camp movies are for crazy hijinks, or they're for massacres?
Massacres.
Crazy hijinks. So
If somebody is wearing a trench coat, do you think it's raining, it's a Western, or is somebody naked inside and about to come out?
Naked.
Oscar or the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl.
Oscar,
DVR or Netflix?
Netflix,
DVR.
Christmas movie with Tim Allen or Christmas movie with Vince Vaughn?
Tim
Allen.
Jackie Chan or Tony Jaa?
Tony
Chan.
Jaa.
Reality shows are better as a competition or when following a personality?
Competition.
M. Night Shyamalan, career is over or holding out hope?
Career's over.
Arrested Development, should have left the classic as it is, or more please?
Should have left the classic.
All right. Thanksgiving viewing, Charlie Brown specials, Friends Thanksgiving specials, or planes, trains, and automobiles?
Planes, trains, and automobiles. Yeah.
Halloween view. Oh wow, these couple repeats, and PS4, Xbox One.
PS4.
Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Christmas.
Dean Martin or Jerry Lewis?
I lied. Thanksgiving. I'm sorry. I lied. Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Dean Martin.
God, jeez.
Dean.
Wow.
I'm gonna go with Dean.
Dick,
That's
dick,
a hard
Dude,
one.
Jerry Lewis.
That's a hard one. I agree.
50 Shades of Grey movie. Will you watch it?
No.
Possibly.
If Hollywood made a story on your life and Justin Bieber played you
Oh,
and
gosh.
you, Bull, directed the movie, would you watch it?
No.
When is it acceptable to start watching Christmas movies?
December 1st.
I say Thanksgiving.
Would you watch Hunger Games sequel if there were no Jennifer Lawrence?
I probably would.
Yeah.
I think the more of these were catered towards Steve at the time. If Jennifer Lawrence and Denzel Washington made a movie, how many times would you and Tiffany watch it? Sam?
0.
Once a month.
Okay. If you had the opportunity to delete one of these people from the universe and American history, which would you choose?
Oh, wow.
Miley Cyrus, Lady Gaga, Kim Kardashian, Justin Bieber, the Jonas Brothers, Chris Brown, all of the current members of Congress, every member of the ASU football team,
Oh, my
or
gosh.
that one asshole at work.
That is a long list, but I'm sticking with Justin Bieber on that
I'm
one.
gonna go with Congress.
All right. Good job, guys. That's a crazy
Yeah,
list
that
and
was
a half.
like a long answer.
Yeah,
or
I
a long
know.
question.
That was a
short
long
answer.
question. Yeah, that's what that was.
My first thought when I read that last question, not having previewed this at all,
Right.
was that's such a Jeff Brewer question.
Yeah, I know.
You know who wrote that one?
All right, so here is your speed round that I wrote for this one, and the reason I wrote this one, it's just a few questions, but we wrote the Wolf of Wall Street questionnaire. I think that's my favorite questionnaire.
that's
that we
might
did
be
for
one of my
Speed
favorites,
Round,
yeah.
right? So I
that,
couldn't.
that was sorry. That one, and then the one where Sammy and I agreed on pretty much like everything.
I know, except the
like,
surfer thing.
Except for the surfer movie thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was another. Those were
That
my
was
two
pretty
favorite
wild.
speed rounds. Yeah.
So I thought I can't ask that question again, and so I tried to think about how I could make more of these questions, and those I just couldn't do it. So I came up with celebrity. So instead of you becoming a Wolf of Wall Street, about the crap you have to deal with as a celebrity, with the thought that after this podcast is over, we're all going to be celebrities.
Okay.
All right. So here's your speed round for being a celebrity. Would you rather be super famous or sort of famous?
Sort of famous.
Super famous.
All right. Paparazzi, would your ego crave it or would your sensibility keep it away?
Sensibility to keep it
My
away.
ego would crave it.
Yeah. Your privacy is hacked. Which would you rather get released? Your nude selfies or your sex tape?
My nude selfies.
Nude selfies.
Okay. Photographed, so you're being photographed for a big magazine cover. Do you want people to see me for who I really am, or please Photoshop me into a better person?
Photoshop me.
Photoshop it. Yeah.
And if you're
I'm a celebrity.
Now, if your spouse was more famous than you and the sex icon of your day, and whenever you went out, people would rather take a picture with her looking sexy and not with you, would it eventually make you uncomfortable?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All
No,
right.
I don't think so.
Yeah, all right.
Because it'd be
You'd
like,
much
I'm
rather
with
be-
her.
Because like, yeah, I'm with her.
Going home with
with
the
the one
sexy
you're
girl
taking
at the end of
pictures
the
of. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's it.
all right,
Good
job,
nicely
guys.
done. To be super famous and have the paparazzi after me.
Yeah.
That's Steve's
my
goal.
dream in life.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I read an article where Will Ferrell was like, why don't they come after me more? He's like, they like spend all their time with Kim Kardashian. Is like,
Yeah.
but I can't find him anywhere.
I look and look for him.
Yeah.
That's funny. That'd be a good little sketch for him.
All right,
Yeah.
gentlemen, we are at literally 1:30.
90-minute podcast.
that's pretty
for the
good.
Final one.
All right.
That's what we
a good-
started with.
That's
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah,
We
you're
started-
right.
cut it
That's what we
back.
started with. I didn't even think about that, but
That's
you're
pretty
right.
amazing.
No, so
Yeah,
Full
because
circle.
I think they were sort of doing 2-hour podcasts, and we were kind of like, let's just. We were cutting it down to an hour and a half.
Yeah.
right, and then we cut it down to an hour.
Then we
and
cut it to
kept
an
there
hour.
for
Yeah,
the
now we
most
cut it down to
part.
0 after this.
Now look at this. Next week you got 0 people.
Yeah, fine. I hope you're
Good luck.
happy. You keep chopping us down, asking for less.
So, anyways, check us out, Socially Awkward, on Friday the 26th.
Yes.
Keep up to date on 12aproductions.com, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, because we'll be posting all we can as we develop more of this stuff and more of the YouTube funny, isms or whatever we're going to call them. So.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about this, but Steve and I shot some stuff with Sam and a few other people. Had a secret shoot a few
That's
weeks
right,
ago
we did.
for some footage for a project that is going to be a part of this new stuff we're launching on YouTube, and it's very exciting. And I think we should announce it at the
Socially Awkward
That's
podcast.
Socially Awkward
Yeah.
podcast. So this is just a teaser, just to listen to us there, so you can hear the big announcements. So we can have something fun
Right,
for that.
right. Because right now I'm not on a lot of sleep, and so I have no idea what that announcement is, Jeff. I don't remember what we did 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
just
all
so you know.
Oh, my
yeah,
goodness.
So I'm looking forward to remembering. Apparently, I don't
Okay.
know. Anyways,
So make sure you follow us on YouTube, subscribe to that so you can be ready for when that stuff starts hitting. Follow us on 12A Productions on Facebook.com/12A Productions, Twitter /what?
12A _productions. Pretty much, if you Google 12A Productions, I think you're going to be
Yeah,
there. You'll
Instagram.
find
We
it.
started
Instagram,
that.
Google Plus.
So please follow us. We
whoring
don't want to
ourselves
lose
out.
you as fans. We appreciate to no extent all of you who've listened to the show. We've had a blast doing it, and we've appreciated all of you who've listened to us and followed the show.
Yeah,
So,
thanks for
thank
listening
you.
and
You.
keeping it.
For 2 years,
Yeah,
thank
2
you very
years.
much, and 50 episodes. Thank you very much.
Yep. The 12A podcast is produced by 12A Productions and distributed by the 4-Eyed Radio Network. To learn more about the podcast or to see what other projects the 12A team is working on, check out 12aproductions.com.
I really think I'm going to cry.
I think I am too.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo.
Hey, yo, listen to another show on the 4-Eyed Radio Network. For more shows, you can go and check out 4eyeradio.com. LSA.